The Cincinnati Bengals. They have opened the season with 2 losses, and Boomer has been on his back or backpedaling in both games. Can Sam Weish continue to control his legendary temper? For that matter, can Boomer and the Bengals control theirs? What would the reaction be to a loss in today's game against Cleveland? In Cleveland, they know all about frustration. Last season, the Browns were a study in futility as Cleveland managed only 3 wins. This year, a new coach, Bill Belichick, is on the sidelines. And last week, he turned Bernie loose, and the Browns were back in the win column. Today, they hope to win again and add to Weich's woes.
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns.
It is a hot and humid 87-degree day on the shores of Lake Erie. A capacity crowd better than 80,000 turning out at Cleveland Stadium for a renewal of the Battle of Ohio. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Bill Parcells. Well, 3 years ago, the Cincinnati Bengals went to the Super Bowl. Last year, they won the AFC Central title. And here they are in a desperate mode, Bill. Record of 0-2. Why the problems?
Well, Marv, I think the problems center around Cincinnati's defense. You know, they haven't stopped the run. They're the only team in the league that hasn't got a sack. And, of course, their offense has only scored 3 touchdowns and given up 2 touchdowns themselves. So, in a nutshell, that's their problem.
All right, the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns is Bill Belichick, your one-time defensive coordinator for the New York Giants, which means he had to suffer through your attempted one-liners for what, 10 years?
10 years.
To put it in simplistic terms, the major problem that Belichick has, not enough quality personnel.
No, that's right, Marv. He doesn't have enough right now. I think Cleveland's goals are going to be modest this year. But Bill has to integrate his philosophy into the system and maintain continuity through the program. He's coaching the coaches and the players.
Well, the Cleveland Browns winning the toss and receiving the opening kickoff, and it's a 15-yard return by Eric Metcalf. And a look at the offensive line for the Cleveland Browns. Mike Babb at center, John Ringstrup, Ed King are at the guards, Tony Jones and Dan Fike are at the tackles. Bernie Kosar, who has been looking to go long range from time to time, a changeup in recent years for Bernie. Joe Mars, Lee Roussan are the running backs. Kevin Mack, a question mark, said to be a game-time decision because of a sprained left ankle. He did sit out last week. And Kosar to throw it, first down, but down he goes. The nose tackle, Tim Brumrod, making for a 7-yard loss with sack number 1 for the Bengals.
Well, that was the rookie, Ed King, the right guard for the Bengals. Brumrod came in good penetration. King's responsible for him. He split between the center and King. Bad way to start the game.
Ed King, a second-round draft pick out of Auburn. And Bernie Kosar looking at a 2nd and 18 back at the 13-yard line. Slaughter in motion. And it's Lee Roussan, the one-time Giant, getting across the 15, met by the inside linebacker Kevin Walker, a pickup of 4 on the play. Now, the Bengals defensively have done some shuffling with the problems they faced over the first 2 games. Alonzo Mitz in as a starter and left defensive end. The rookie Lamar Rogers bothered by a sprained ankle. This group has had its difficulties. You see James Francis moving to the outside, Billett, Thomas Fulcher, and Dixon in the secondary. 3rd down and 13 from the 18. Cincinnati has beaten the Browns the last 4 meetings. Kosar side-arming intended for Reggie Langhorne, who is in there for the injured Brian Brennan, sitting out with a pulled hamstring. Langhorne covered by the left corner, Lewis Phillips. And the punting unit checks in, Brian Hansen.
Kosar got away with a bad throw there. He's lucky that wasn't intercepted. The corner was waiting right for it. Kosar didn't see him come in the picture.
Mitchell Price awaiting the punt from Hansen. And the fair catch called for in nonchalant fashion by Price. 39-yard punt by Hansen. So the Cincinnati Bengals to the offense. And we have seen a number of variations of the no huddle with this group. The on-the-line huddle, the sugar huddle, the sideline huddle. Munoz, along with Reimers, Gaton starting at center. Bruce Kosarski still banged up. Boyer and Walter, you saw the running backs, Brooks and Ball. And the Bengals, hearing it from the crowd, start out at the 44-yard line. Off the play fake and a beauty. Esiason overthrows Lynn James.
Well, he fooled everybody on the Browns, and he had the receiver, James, open in the flat on the other side of the field. But that's a tough throw for a quarterback. Boomer does an outstanding job with his play fake.
Hides the ball so well. Bill, everyone knows the play fakes are coming, but he still is able to paralyze the linebackers and the deep man.
He just works at it very hard. He takes a lot of pride in that aspect of the game, and he continues the fakes even on the running play.
And he says that's the key, to give it a complete fake. So many quarterbacks just give it a little shuffle, and that's it. Here's Ball. And Ball has a first down. Eric Ball, a native of Cleveland, starting in the absence of the injured Ickey Woods. Ball down by Mike Johnson and Harlan Barnett.
Well, that's some big shoes to fill, Ickey Woods, but Ball's done a good job. Now, Cincinnati's in this sugar huddle right now, about 1.5 yards from the line of scrimmage.
How do you define the sugar huddle?
Well, it's not right on the line, but it's close enough that they can react to any defensive substitution before the defense can get their players in the game.
And a first down at the 46. Craig Taylor now in the backfield for the Bengals. And Boomer swings to Taylor. And he's hit out inside the 40. Went for 5. Clay Matthews with the contact on Taylor in his third year out of West Virginia. And was called cinder block because he's built low to the ground and, as the players say, likes to create havoc.
I hope he doesn't crumble like one now. I don't know whether I want that name, cinder block.
Second down and 3 at the 39. Eric Caddis is coming as the second tight end. 5 Tim McGee now flanked to the right. McGee a question mark for today because of a knee and a shoulder problem. Here is Brooks. And he had it coughed up. The Browns indicate they have recovered, and they have. A hard hit on James Brooks. Van Waiters with the pop, and off the fumble, the Browns get it back.
Well, you see Waiters coming over and strips it back. Brooks kind of knocked it off his own hip, and it was recovered by the safety coming up inside. Not so much of a strip. I think Brooks was just carrying that thing a little loose.
And it appeared that the free safety Vince Newsom was able to fall on it. We'll be back in a moment. Cleveland as the Browns taking over off the fumble. Part of the offense, and Joe Marv is stopped. David Fulcher, the strong safety, made the play. The ball was jarred loose, but the whistle was blown.
I think they're calling this a fumble.
Oh, yes, they are. It is recovered by Cincinnati.
This is a draw here. Roussan leading through on the linebacker. Morris gets caught up in the pile. And it looked like the linebacker Roussan's was blocking helmet hit the ball by accident. Don't think he intended to do it.
Browns with their first turnover of the season. Lynn James on the reception and a first down. He went for 9. Vince Newsom made the stop. So the Cleveland Browns give it right back on the fumble after Brooks coughed it up. And Cleveland able to take it for one play, and they return the favor.
Still in that sugar huddle.
And it is a first down picked up by Cincinnati. First down at the Cleveland 34-yard line. No score. We are opening minutes. Brooks and Taylor in the backfield. Brooks putting the speed on and has another. Bengal first down. He went for 11. James Brooks last week against Houston ran for 101 yards and caught 4 passes in that 30-7 win by the Houston Oilers.
Well, I think just Cincinnati's trying to get away from Clay Matthews a little and run a little bit more at Brandon and Waiters if he's in there. You know, Matthews is the mainstay of that defense. A number of years. Trying to power him over there a little with those double tight end sets.
Matthews played for the Browns in 3 different decades, making 5 trips to the Pro Bowl. Cincinnati first down at the 22. And the give to Brooks. Tries the other side. And pounds his way for 8. He was stopped by Randy Hilliard, one of the heroes for the Browns last week, and the victory over New England.
Well, here they come with Caddis bumping on Matthews there. They got around him. Now you're blocking probably the first or second best player on the Cleveland Browns defense there. Good job by Cincinnati's tight end coming across in motion. Very difficult to do, come across in motion and block a good active player like that.
Second down. And about 2. Tight end Caddis peeled off. Harold Green driving, looking for the first down, turned back. Anthony Pleasant, Michael Dean Perry leading the assault on Harold Green, second-year player out of South Carolina. And they're calling for the yardsticks.
Cincinnati repeated that same play, and that's a good offensive strategy. You make 7 or 8 yards on a play, and you come back with the exact same thing. You know, make them stop it, especially down here in the scoring zone.
Bill, you mentioned some of those negative statistics regarding the Cincinnati Bengals. They have allowed a league high of 75 points. They have scored only 21. Lost to Denver 45-14, lost to Houston 30-7. But last week the Bengals saw a game get away from them in the space of 60 seconds. It was 13-7 and then exploded in their face.
Well, that can happen, a play here, a play there, and, you know, a bad one, an interception, a turnover, and all of a sudden the momentum builds very quickly. But 75 points, you know, you're going to break the league record if you stay on that pace.
Bengals just shy of the first down.
Might be a chance to go for the touchdown here and try for it on 4th down if you feel confident enough about your offensive line. 5.5 minutes gone by in the first quarter with no score.
And Esiason handed off to Craig Taylor, and he has the first down. Picked up a couple. Well, in the Battle of Ohio, since Sam Weiss became head coach back in 1984, he has won 9 out of 14 against the Browns. Cincinnati, as we mentioned, has won the last 4. We asked him about the difficult situation going into today's game. Bengals facing the possibility of going 0-3. And he said it's not do or die. He said no one's going to die. Football is a leisure time activity. It's entertainment. I know you always approach it in the same manner, Bill. There's Esiason throwing for the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Rodney Holman.
Well, getting back to what you said, Marv, somebody's going to die. I don't know whether he's wearing orange and brown or orange and black, but one of those 2 coaches tonight isn't going to be feeling too good. I can assure you of that.
Well, a good rationale by Sam Weiss, but as you know, Sam trying to low-key the importance of today because Cincinnati's schedule coming up is just brutal. Next Sunday, home for Washington, and the the bye week, then home for Seattle, then 3 straight on the road. Dallas, Buffalo, and Houston, making today's game very significant. 2nd and 10 from the 11. James in motion. The gift to Brooks. Picked up a couple. James Brooks, 32 years old, but in sensational condition.
Well, Sam White was telling us after they lost the playoff game last year to the Raiders, he came back to Cincinnati, and the very next morning, the day after the season was over, he looked out in the stadium, and James Brooks was running the steps. Now, that's dedication. I wish I'd have had him on my team when he worked.
Yeah, you needed a lot of help.
Sure did.
3rd down and 6.
Guys like this make you a good coach in a hurry.
3rd and 6 at the 7. Esiason able to complete, and we'll have to see where they mark it as Mike Bobber made the catch, but was handled well by the free safety Vince Newsom.
Well, this is going to bring up a decision here, but Cincinnati's elected to go for the field goal. They might have been able to get the 1st down here, but I guess Coach White felt like it was just a little too long, 4th and 2. Get the points on the board on the road. That's the rule.
And this is Jim Breach, who had a attempt blocked last week, so this is his 2nd attempt of the season. It's a 21-yard field goal attempt by Breach, a 13-year man out of the University of California. And he puts it through for a 3-0 Cincinnati lead. 7:24 to go in this opening quarter.
And by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
Marv Albert, Bill Parcells from Cleveland Stadium. And the Cincinnati Bengals lead the Cleveland Browns by the score of 3-0 on a 21-yard field goal by Jim Breach, taking advantage of a fumble recovery. Lee Johnson with the kick. And Eric Metcalf on the return. Reaching out just shy of the 20-yard line, went for 16. Mitchell Price made the stop, and a penalty flag has been thrown. Referee is Dale Hamer.
Five-yard face mask foul. Number 32 on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And that is called on the man who made the tackle, Mitchell Price.
5 yards because it's just an incidental face mask. Had it been a blatant or flagrant, quite naturally the additional yardage on that.
And there is Mitchell Price. Leroy Horde has come in at running back, teaming with Eric Metcalf as the Browns start out from their 24-yard line. Slaughter in motion. Kosar looking that way. Slaughter covered, so he went to the middle. And Metcalf pushed back by Kevin Walker, who gets credit for the tackle.
Well, Kevin Walker, linebacker from Maryland, he's really the only continuity in the Bengals linebacking core from last year to this year. You know, Alfred Williams and Francis moving to the other inside. Now Zander. He's the only guy that's been in one spot all season.
Paul Zander back in the starting lineup, came in late following a contract dispute. So James Francis moving back to the outside where the Bengals feel he is more effective. 2nd down and 4. And here's Horde running for the 1st down. And the ball again jarred loose. Leroy Horde last year did have some fumbling problems, as did several of the Browns, but the Browns able to hang on, and they have the 1st down. Kevin Walker pursuing the play and making the stop.
Well, Walker's a good inside-out player. You know, he's very aggressive. He's played an awful lot of football for Cincinnati in his 4 years, and he can chase him down pretty good. He did knock that one loose, too, but a little late.
There's Kevin Walker, 4th year out of Maryland, moved inside after Joe Kelly was traded to the New York Jets last season. 1st down at the 37. Kosar off the play action. Ford could not get to it. Covered by Kevin Walker. It will be a 2nd and 10 at the 37. Well, Miami and Detroit tied at 3. Don Shula seeking victory number 300. Giants and the Bears, no score. Philadelphia jumping in front of Dallas 7-0. In the first, the Parcells selection, the Philadelphia Eagles with an early lead.
If you notice, Washington 7-up on Phoenix, which is Bob Costas' selection, and will continue to be.
2nd down and 10. Again, Slaughter comes in motion. And Kosar goes that way. Webster Slaughter hit out of bounds, and it looks to be a face mask. Lewis Phillips all over Webster Slaughter.
I don't know what Phillips is thinking about. I mean, Slaughter's well out of bounds. That's a flagrant personal foul. You see Kosar,
Personal foul.
Slaughter in motion.
Face mask on the runner. 15 yards. First down.
Now he's out of bounds, and he just keeps pushing him. There's no reason for that. He's lucky that's all he got for that. Could have easily been thrown out of the game.
Lewis Phillips winning the starting job back at left corner. Rod Jones now the backup. Phillips a holdout, but he's taken over at the left cornerback position and called for that personal foul, setting a 1st and 10 for Cleveland at the Cincinnati 43. Bengals lead the Browns 3-0. Second back coming through, Metcalf with a short pickup, went for 4, stopped by the rookie from Colorado, top draft pick of the Bengals, Alfred Williams.
He's a guy that they normally use as a pass rusher. When you try to integrate a rookie linebacker into the system, sometimes it's tough to teach him everything at once, Marv.
Sometimes tough to talk also.
It's awful tough to talk, especially here in Cleveland. It must be Lake Erie.
2nd down and about 7. Number 1, Michael Thriller Jackson in motion. Metcalf able to make the turn. Eric Thomas coming up from right corner. Runs him out. Eric Metcalf, one of the game's dynamic open field runners. Leads the Browns in receptions, 10 catches on the season.
Well, now they got Morris and Metcalf in there, and that's what they call their rabbit formation. They have the 2 little quick guys in the backfield.
Joe Morris, of course, the former Giant, working with Eric Metcalf on the 3rd down and 4. Off the fake. Morris on the swing. And he's short of the 1st down. Joe Morris had a good one against New England last week. 20 carries, 70 yards, getting the playing time in the absence of Kevin Mack. All right, 4th down and about 1.5 yards. What's the call from Bill Belichick?
I think he's going to go for it, Marv, and I think I would too. This is a tough situation now because the players are not sure what the coach wants to do all the time. Takes a little time to get the play in, but here we go.
Well, Paul Farron now has reported in as the extra tight end, as he will do from time to time, and going for the 1st down. Very close, Joe Morris. And a flag has been thrown. Three minutes, 11 seconds to go in this first quarter. The Browns indicating that the call is against Cincinnati.
With a face mask, 5 yards. Number 22 of the defense. 5-yard penalty. It'll be a 1st down. They made the line to gain.
Another face mask call. This time it's on the right corner. Eric Thomas.
There you see Joe Morris breaking off left tackle there. And, of course, Eric Thomas just reaches his left hand in there. And it's quite obvious that he does grab Morris by the face mask and attempting to bring him back behind the chain marker.
Brown first down at the Cincinnati 28. Metcalf and Ford now are the running backs. Ford picking his way to the 25. An advance of 3. Alonzo Mitz, number 99, and number 50, James Francis, combining to stop Leroy Horde in his second year out of Michigan. Missed a good portion of training camp with a viral infection and a knee injury. Had his ups and downs last year as a rookie. Has seen limited action thus far this season. Kevin Mack didn't get out to this point once again. Sat out last week with a sprained left ankle, so we'll see quite a bit of Horde. 2nd and 7. Kosar throwing for Slaughter. Covered by Thomas.
Well, Cincinnati took a chance on the blitz right there, and Kosar had a shot, but good coverage back in the secondary, so he just threw the ball away. You know, Francis, we were talking to Sam Weiss, that Francis they had experimented with as an inside linebacker early in training camp, but Sam, to use Sam's exact words, he said that inside he was a C player, and as an outside linebacker, he's an A player, so he's got him back outside where he thinks he can help the team the most. I think it's a good move.
Last year, Francis, as a rookie, led the Bengals, 78 tackles and 8 sacks. 3rd down and 7 from the 25. Kosar with the time. Look out. Down he goes. And the ball was jarred loose. Alfred Williams on the recovery went for 17 yards. Not to Tagovailoa with the hard hit on Bernie Kosar.
Well, this is really tough luck on Kosar's part because he doesn't see Williams coming back behind him. The pass rush is all behind him. He kind of sneaks up and hits him.
Penalty marker was tossed.
This is a big swing for the Browns here because they're in field goal range for sure. They're going to tie the game up. Now they've already put Cincinnati in field goal range to add to their lead.
On the return, 15 yards, first down.
All right, here's another look at it.
You see Kosar steps up, plenty of time, good protection. Guy comes in from the back side. He never sees him coming. Now, of course, it's a foot race. And they have a little roughage out of bounds with some of the Bengal players. Wind up getting another penalty. Well, here you see Kosar standing, waiting plenty of time. Never sees the guy coming, holding the ball a little loose. Tagovailoa. And Alfred Williams picks it up, takes it down the sideline.
And Reggie Langhorne was called for that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, so 1st and 10 for Boomer Esiason. And the Bengals down at the Cleveland 31. 2nd turnover by the Browns, who coming into today had not turned it over. 84 Caddis in motion. And here's Brooks. Stopped by Waiters, picked up 3 on the play. Well, the overhead shots today, courtesy of the Spirit of Akron, sponsored this year by Goodyear Tires and Flint Tour 91. 2nd down and 7 from the 27-yard line. It's the Bengals 3, the Browns nothing. A 21-yard field goal by Jim Breach. 1:20 remaining in this opening quarter. The Browns had 1 up and 1 down. Bengals at 0-2. Cincinnati Bengals last year so inconsistent. Difficult fluff to figure. Blown out by the Oilers, then they blow out Houston. Wallop Pittsburgh, soundly beaten by the Colts. Here's Eric Ball. And he is stopped at the 25-yard line. Eric Ball, Cincinnati's #1 draft pick in '89, taken in the 2nd round out of UCLA, stopped by the combination of Perry and Johnson. It sets up a 3rd down and 4 from the 25, and Cincinnati will go on the double tight end with Caddis and Riggs combining. Boomer Esiason with the seconds ticking down in this first quarter, will get off the play. He's had so much success against the Browns, particularly in recent years. And he pegs it as the first down, combining with the tight end Caddis for a pickup of 8. Matthews and Johnson combining on the tackle. Final seconds of this first quarter. A quarter that has seen 3 turnovers, 2 committed by Cleveland, 1 leading to the Cincinnati field goal. And by virtue of the field goal by Breach, after 1, 3-0 Cincinnati. On to the second quarter. Marv Albert with Bill Parcells from Cleveland Stadium. Cincinnati 3 and Cleveland 0. Well, there's Todd Philcox, now the backup quarterback to Bernie Kosar in his second year out of Syracuse, signed by Cincinnati as a free agent. Last year, won a spot on the Bengals roster. So Sam Weiss a little bit wary that Todd Philcox may be doing some surveillance work on the sideline.
Very concerned. He's changed some words. He's changed some signals, and trying to protect Philcox from stealing the signals of Cincinnati.
And Eric Ball hit for a loss of a yard.
Of course, you know, on that signal stealing, Marv, all's fair. You know, if you can get them, you can use them. That's not against the rules.
How helpful, though, when you know what's coming, as a penalty marker has been thrown down and they're in the midst of a discussion. There are some guys who feel, obviously, you'd like to know what's coming, but it doesn't matter that much because you can know, and if it's executed, sometimes you can't stop it anyway.
Well, that's correct, but I think the defense would have a great advantage if they could determine whether it was run or pass before the ball snapped.
There's no foul on the play. No foul.
All right, a inadvertent flag, as the officials call it.
If the Browns can just hold Cincinnati to a field goal here, their defense will have accomplished a great deal.
Second and 10, down at the Cleveland 17. Ball and Brooks are the running backs. Esiason for Caddis, wide open. Down to the 10-yard line. Tripped up by Newsom. Eric Caddis, in his 6th year out of the University of Michigan, on the reception, and he was wide open for that catch.
There you see Caddis. It's a little delay pattern. Send Brooks through to clear out. Caddis delays over the middle.
And it sets up a 3rd down and 2 at the 9. Here's Brooks. Michael Dean Perry and Van Waiters holding him short of the first down, at least from this angle. They may call for a measurement.
Of course, Michael Dean's the guy that you're going to build your defense around here in Cleveland in the future. He's an outstanding defensive line, one of the premier players in the league. You know, great quickness, great size, strength. Good guy to start with.
Oh, a very close look, and as you saw, inches away. So as we open up in this second quarter, the Cincinnati Bengals with a 3rd down and inches at the 9. They lead the Browns 3-0. And they are going for the first down. They go with the 4 wideouts: McGee, Rempert, James, and Barber.
Well, I think that's just a little deception there. You know, they want to give the appearance of the passing set and then try to convert that 4th down maybe with a quick run or a quarterback sneak.
Rempert and Barber split out to the left side. Esiason on the quarterback sneak, driven back. The Browns feel they've held him.
Well, this they have. It's a great defensive play right there.
The officials are checking the spot.
Well, Cincinnati players are signaling first down. But that's an old trick that Sam uses. Spreads out the defense and then goes for the quarterback sneak.
And they're calling for the yardsticks once again.
In the NFC East, Randall Cunningham, that was one of his favorite tricks.
And the Browns did hold them.
Good push inside by the defensive lineman, and a good fill in by Mike Johnson, and he doesn't let the Bengal lineman push the Brown lineman forward. It's kind of like rugby there. Who's ever the strongest wins, and you see the Browns win it.
So the Browns will take over. They take over at the 8. We'll be back in a moment. Browns take over at their 9 after stopping the Bengals. Kevin Mack, who sat out last week with a sprained left ankle, has checked in for the first time. He was a question mark. They give to Marv. David Grant from his left defensive end position making the stop. Well, that last play a moment ago with the 4th down and inches called by Sam Weiss, and you can see he's taking the rap. He says, my fault, as Boomer Esiason on the keeper tried to pick up the first down.
Well, it's a trick that Sam and a lot of coaches use in the league. Give the appearance of a spread-out passing set and then run the sneak. It just didn't work. Good alertness on the part of Cleveland's defense to stop it.
2nd down and 7 for the Browns. Bengals 3, Browns nothing. Early 2nd quarter. Bill Morris peeling off to the wing. And here's Mack. Penalty marker throw. Mack stiff-arming his way and run out by Billups. And the holding call against the Bengals.
Now this is bad back here in this backed up again your own end of the field. You know, you hate to get a penalty. Cleveland's taking a conservative approach trying to get out. 2 tight ends trying to run the ball out. Their defense has been under a lot of pressure for the last 6 or 8 minutes in the ball game. And now some offensive linemen set you back further.
Holding. Number 83, the offense, penalized, half the distance to the goal, still 2nd down.
The hold is called against the Browns. Correction, I said Bengals. It's against the Browns. The tight end, Darrell Ingram, recently acquired on waivers from San Francisco, cut and then re-signed, was called for that hold.
Well, he just got back this week and hasn't had much practice. Browns are forced to use him in that 2 tight end set this week.
It's a 2nd and 13 at the 6. And it's Marv. Joe Marv running well, went for 10, took the hit from the free safety, Ricky Dixon.
Well, little Joe looks like he has his quickness and speed back and got through a nice hole. Good block by John Reenstra there, pulling out. Joe reads that play very well and gives the Browns just a little breathing room.
And we're running down the ITT 10-minute ticker. Oh, Green Bay with the 2-0 lead in the 2nd quarter.
At the end of 2 innings.
Yeah. 3rd down and 3 from the 16. Again, the 4 wideout look by the Browns. The inside handoff and a big hole for Marv. Selects the 1st down. Francis on the tackle.
Well, Cleveland's doing the same thing Cincinnati did here. Give the appearance of the spread out on 3rd down and 3. And then run Joe on the quick trap right up the middle. You see Joe there. Following the trap block. Gets just enough for the 1st down.
And a 1st down at the 22. Morris carried the ball 5 times for 23 yards. Morris again peeling off to the wing. Back to the ground. Mack broke a tackle and then tossed it up and was able to hold on. Kevin Walker on the stop of Max.
Well, they deploy Morris outside in motion and then give it to Max, who makes quite a bit out of nothing there. That's just good running. Now, Kevin's been hampered by an ankle most of the week. He just returned to practice Wednesday. Didn't do much Friday at practice when we were there. And looks like he's going to just see some spot duty today, in and out. Phil's doing a good job rotating his back, keeping him fresh.
2nd down and 5 at the 27. Off the play fake. Kosar has the first down. The tight end, Scott Galbraith, on a 10-yard advance.
Little bootleg pass, and Kosar pulls up and then, of course, gets run into a little bit late. Feet were off the ground. David Grant. Normally they don't call them when they're out of contain like that on the bootleg.
6th catch of the season for Galbraith. Had only 4 receptions a year ago and has the first down at the 37. Again, Slaughter in motion. And it's back to the ground for Mars. Gang tackled. Francis from Rye involved on the stop of Joe Mars, celebrating his 31st birthday today. You didn't send him a birthday card, though. I have a feeling.
I wasn't able to send Joe a birthday card today, but I do wish him a happy one. Looks like he's down now.
That's Joe Mars being checked over. But here's how it occurred.
Just a little slant up the middle. Helmet on the ear hole. But it's difficult to determine whether it's his head or something else.
We'll be back in a moment.
Guys, doesn't get any better than this.
Bob Pullum was wrong, because when a crate of lobsters fell from the sky, it got somewhat better. And when the Swedish bikini team dropped by, it got a little better. And when an old Milwaukee truck showed up, it most certainly got better. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
Headed to the sideline a moment ago after taking that hit. 2nd down and 7 at the 40-yard line. Michael Jackson in motion. And Kosar rifles it, intended for the tight end. Galbraith covered by the strong safety Fulcher. What's the most memorable moment for you when you think back to your days as coaching Joe Morris with the Giants?
I think the thing I remember the most is kind of a funny story. We're down in Houston one day, and it was band day, Marv. And of course, Joe was the key force in our offense at that time. And they had bands stationed on the sideline. There was a big tuba there, and ran a play to the left side. And Joe ran right into the tuba, got stuck, and it took us about a minute to get him out of the tuba.
It is a 3rd down and 7 at the 40. Cincinnati with a 3-0 lead on Cleveland. And Kosar to Slaughter. Lets the Slaughter push back the other way, and he is just short of the first down.
Well, this is the receiver's responsibility here. He needs to get up, pass the first down marker, and then come back to the ball. Slaughter does it, but he comes back a little too far, and his momentum takes him back, and they're not going to credit him with the first down, so it's a punt situation.
And Brian Hansen will come on for the 2nd time today. Browns went through a complete overhaul in their kicking game. Got on Brian Wagner and Jerry Cart, Hansen, and another one-time Giant, Matt Stover, now handling the punting and kicking activities. Richard Price let it fly, and the Browns got a break. A 52-yard punt that was down by Mike Oliphant. And the Bengals will start from deep in their territory.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by the new Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this.
by Hertz. We never forget who made us #1. We're Hertz. We're America's wheel. And by Goodyear Eagle Radio, the best-selling performance radios in the world.
An 86-degree, hot and humid day in Cleveland. The Bengals start out from their 3-yard line in a hole here at Tim McGee making the catch. Short pickup, Randy Hilliard on the coverage. Chatting yesterday with Cleveland head coach Bill Belichick, he was telling us that he hopes to slow the pace down, in particular with the no-huddle-oriented offense of the Cincinnati Bengals, and to this point, he has succeeded. The game is at a slower pace than usually you see when the Cincinnati Bengals are involved.
Well, that's right, and it didn't start that way. It was Cincinnati for a while, but now Cleveland's driving it out from their own end, having them pinned back here. Cleveland's playing the way they want to play now.
2nd and 6 from the 7-yard line. Ball and Brooks are the running back. Brooks in trouble. And he's hit for a loss. Lost 3. Stopped by Rob Burnett, but a penalty flag is down. And the call against Cincinnati.
Well, the Browns got them pinned back here in good shape now. This could be a dead ball foul. There's no percentage in taking this penalty if it's not a dead ball foul.
We have a dead ball foul. Dead ball foul. Personal foul. Number 21. Kicking. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, James Brooks called for kicking in retaliation. Let's see if we get a look at it.
Well, there's no love lost between these teams here, and you can see it. Brown's got a lot of guys on the pile, and Brooks is trying to get up, and he kicked Burnett, number 90, when he's trying to get off the ground.
3rd and 11. Esiason able to complete for the first down to Lynn James. And a flag thrown in the end zone. Against the Bengals.
Well, as fate would have it, you know, Boomer gets him off the hook there.
Number 75 of the offense. Penalized half the distance to the goal. Repeat 3rd down.
It's going to be Bruce Reimers on the left part of your screen, number 75. Got his hands up there in Michael Dean's face. And the umpire calls the penalty. Now, this is a tough situation for Esiason. He just converted this once. Now he's got to do it again.
Festival of face mask calls. 5th penalty called on Cincinnati. Boomer from deep in the end zone, and it was broken up. And again a flag. Pass intended for Rodney Holman. Esiason took a good hit.
Officials are a little active here today.
And it's been a busy 2nd quarter for this crew.
They've had those flags out of their pocket more than they've had them in.
Once again against Cincinnati. Well, we still have 6:13 to go in the 2nd quarter, Bill. And this is a game that has already seen a total of 8 penalties, 3 fumbles, only 3 points.
And here you see Boomer. He gets hit a little late. Difficult to tell whether it's Michael Dean or the Cincinnati lineman pushing him into Boomer.
Once again, a 3rd down and 12, and a timeout is being taken by the defense.
TV
Cleveland
timeout.
calling for time.
Well, it's better than having a bad play. They must not have been set with their defense. That's why they used that.
Well, the Battle of Ohio has been down and dirty. Penalty-filled first half. Cincinnati leads it 3-0 over Cleveland. Third down and 12. And it is a penalty marker down. Safety indicated, but another flag has been tossed.
I tell you, that was a great defensive call by Cleveland.
It appears the call against Cincinnati, so the safety will hold up.
And holding, number 68 in the offense. The penalty is declined. Safety.
Paul Jeton called for the hold, so the safety will stand up.
Cleveland anticipates Cincinnati running the ball, so they run a safety blitz up in there, get more guys up there than Cincinnati can block, and get Brooks before he can get out of the end zone.
It cuts the score to Cleveland, trailing Cincinnati now 3-2 as you see James Brooks hit down in the end zone. So once again, the flags continue to fly. We've had 8 accepted penalties called in this first half. And within the 8, 4 for face masks, 3 against Cincinnati, and 1 against Cleveland.
Yep. Here you see the safety, Anthony Florence. Guy's going to go in motion. They're going to run the sweep this way. He's going to come up, force the play into the backfield, and make the play for the safety. Here you see him sneaking up to the line when the motion leaves, comes across the line, causes Brooks to turn in, and they make the play for the safety.
Great kick by Lee Johnson following the safety. Eric Metcalf accelerating on the return. Well, the Browns and this crowd pumped up. 25-yard return by Metcalf. Mike Barber ran him out.
Of course, you have your punter instead of your field goal kicker. Sometimes the kickoff coverage isn't as determined on these safety punts as they are the normal kickoff. And of course, Metcalf gets outside contained with that kind of speed.
And Bill, Cincinnati has not been noted for its work on special teams in kickoff and punt coverage. So Metcalf able to reel off 25 yards. And Cleveland with a first down at the Cincinnati 42-yard line. Bernie Kosar, he's been injury hit the last 3 years. Did not help that last season. He was sacked 37 times. Hoping to turn it from a difficult year, bothered by the chronic elbow problems, sore thumb. Threw only 10 touchdown passes last year. Intercepted 15 times, but had a good one last week against New England.
And he says he's happy with the play calling here. He's back to being able to go for the long pass from time to time, and he likes that because he thinks that was his trademark when he first came up, and he was a little restricted in the passing game the past couple of years. But big thing here is the whole momentum in this game has shifted to Cleveland in the last 5 minutes.
Well, there is a delay because we're told from the field they are having problems with the communication between the field and the replay booth, so they're trying to straighten that out. Yes, Bernie Kosar told us yesterday that it's not that his arm feels better, but you indicate last year the Browns just did not look to throw deep. They wouldn't take any shots at all. Now, they haven't done it today, but they did last week and through preseason. The other point of view, the coaching staff last year perhaps felt that Kosar, with the elbow problem, was a big risk factor in going long range.
Well, Bernie can call the audible if he sees it. He has the latitude to do that, and that's what he feels good about. He can take the shot if it's there.
Paul Farron has replaced Dan Fike at right tackle. Fike out with a pinched nerve injury. Off the play action. Kosar looking deep, but hit down by Kevin Walker.
Well, there it was. He was trying to do it, off the play action, trying to get it to Slaughter. Deep on the right side, the protection didn't hold.
It's a loss of 6, third sack of the day by the Bengals.
Here he is, stepping up on the throwback, trying to get it to Slaughter. Protection doesn't hold on the play action.
So the good sign for the Cincinnati Bengals, who came in to today's game sackless, and they have just collected their third. Second down and 15 at the 47. Cincinnati 3 and Cleveland 2. 5:15 to go. Second quarter. Slaughter had it thrown behind him. Right here, we're set for an update. Let's go to Bob Costas at our New York studio.
All right, Marv, you and Bill saw Mark Higgs last week in Miami, the career journeyman emerging as an early season star. Here he is bowling people over, going 5 yards for a touchdown at the Silverdome. That gave Don Shula, in pursuit of his 300th win, a brief 10-3 lead. Rodney Peete came back, threw a 26-yarder to Willie Green. They're tied at 10 in the second. Marv?
All right, Bob, we're told that Joe Morris suffered a knee injury, aggravated an old injury, and no word on whether he will return. Third down and 15 from the 47 for the Browns. Kosar with the time for Slaughter and a first down. So the Browns are now opening things up.
Well, he needed 15. Your protection's got a hold here so that Slaughter could go down. He had a one-on-one on the route. He ran a little corner pattern or a deep out comeback style pattern. You see him on the left side of your screen working against Lewis Billups. Comes back to the corner, turns Billups around. Easy throw, really.
It's a 20-yard pass play. Webster Slaughter, one of the toughest and most exciting receivers in the NFL. Last year led the Browns, 59 receptions. First down at the Cincinnati 26.
That was another one of those chicken plays, Marv.
Yes. Now Metcalf is split out to the left side. A timeout is taken by the Browns. That is their second timeout. And we will take a break. 4:37 left in the second. Cleveland Browns hoping that Joe Morris will be able to return to the contest. As I recall, the parting of Joe Morris with you and the Giants was not a pleasant one. He was upset that you cut him.
Well, I don't blame him. You know, he'd been the featured guy in New York for a number of years, and we had to decide to go to a different system. Our linemen were bigger. We felt it was necessary, so we needed bigger backs, and it was the system that got Joe, not his ability.
Did it affect your relationship?
Oh, I think it probably did, in all honesty, Marv. I think he probably resented a little the fact, you know, whenever you tell a player that the time in an area and a place where he had so much success is over, he might resent it a little bit, but normally time heals that stuff. And, you know, I said hello to Joe yesterday, and he had a nice smile, so.
He was smiling at me, though.
Yeah, he probably was.
But Joe Morris making it back here with the Browns.
Well, I will say this. He did an awful lot for Bill Parcells and the New York Giants while he was there, and I appreciate it.
Joe led the Browns in rushing in preseason and had a good day against New England last week. Once again, communications problems between the officials on the field and the replay booth. When we resume, it will be a first down at the 26 in Cincinnati territory as we sweep around the ticker. Don Shula gunning for career victory number 300. Miami and Detroit tied at 10. Look at Chicago leading your former club. Minnesota in front of San Francisco, and Philadelphia leading Dallas 10-zip.
Coming off that Monday night, you know, it's tough. Big division game. Now they have another one right behind you.
And a look from high above, the blimp Spirit of Akron, piloted by Captain Drew Marshall. Currently traveling on Blimp Tour 91. This year's theme is 5 tires and right on the Goodyear blimp. First down of the 26. Cincinnati with a 3-2 lead. Here's Mack off a delay. Running for the first down. Run out by Fulcher. Kevin Mack plowing for 11.
Well, Kevin Mack, this is the guy that Browns really need to get back going healthy, because he is a dominant physical player in the style of offense they're going to play this year. If this guy's full speed, they got a real good chance to succeed. He can punish you, that guy.
And he's the inspirational leader of the offense, making it back from drug problems. Had a solid year last season. First down at the 15. Michael Jackson in motion. Off the pitch, Metcalf. Change of direction, trying to cut back, but Carl Zander was right there to get the reps on Eric Metcalf. Zander and Fulcher combining on the stop.
Well, Zander, of course, back in there for the first time this week, and the Bengals making some linebacker changes. Francis back to the outside, as we mentioned earlier in the game, and Zander in there. They have a little bit better linebacker group than they had to go in with before.
2nd and 9 from the 14. 3.5 remaining in the first half. It's a 3-2 lead for Cincinnati over Cleveland. Straight ahead by Horde. Just a short pickup, Leon White. And David Grant combining on the stop. There's White in his 6th year out of Brigham Young.
Well, the problem with Cincinnati's defense, talking to Coach Weiss, he's a little concerned about his defensive linemen and the stamina, the ability to recover. He feels they're in good condition, but he indicated to us some of the guys need a little rest from time to time, and he just didn't have enough bodies to give it to them. And like the Browns, Bengals with a host of injury problems. Alex Gordon sitting out with a hamstring. Offensively, Eddie Brown out with a shoulder. Tim McGee playing, although he's hurt. Same for Bruce Kosarski. Kosar. Oh, good hit. Jarring it loose from Slaughter. Could not hang on. Eric Thomas with the pop. There's Thomas. Man who's made it back from blowing out his knee in that off-season basketball game last year. Slaughter in motion and then just running a quick diagonal, what we used to call a diagonal pattern, right to the flat, just trying to outrun the corner off the motion. Ball's there. He just dropped it.
30-yard field goal attempt from Matt Stover. Brian Hampton will hold. Stover, a first-year player from Louisiana Tech. One-time Giant. Puts it through. So he is now 3 out of 4 for the season. And the Cleveland Browns have taken a 5-3 lead. No, it's not the Reds and the Indians playing here at Cleveland Stadium. 5-3 is the score.
Well, we have seen a couple wild pitchers.
Well, coming up next, the second half of our NFL doubleheader. Many of you will see Jim Kelly and the explosive Buffalo Bills play the New York Jets at Giant Stadium in the New Jersey Meadowlands. Many of you will see the Indianapolis Colts, who are trying to turn it from the loss in Miami last week, going up against the Los Angeles Raiders. That is next, right here on NBC. 2:29 remaining in the first half. The second quarter has not been a favorable one this season for the Cincinnati Bengals. They have now been outscored 32-0 in the second quarter over the first 3 games this season.
Well, the second quarter has been a great statement for defense in the kicking game, because Cleveland drove it out from their own end zone, punted Cincinnati back, held them, got a safety, then acquired good field position again, and were able to get the lead just on that defense and a good punter.
Matt Stover's kickoffs have been excellent. Once again, does not allow a return. Eric Ball has to remain in the end zone, and they will start out from the 20. So with 2:23 remaining in this first half, Cincinnati first down from the 20-yard line. Coming up at halftime, it'll be Bob Costas, Will McDonough, O.J. Simpson. Scores and highlights from around the NFL. That is just ahead. Sam Weiss in his 8th year as head coach of the Bengals. Yet, Bill, he is the 4th youngest head coach in the NFL.
Well, that's amazing, but I don't know what this timeout is here.
What would you rank? You're what, 60?
Well, when I was aging was 2 for 1, Marv. Every year in the league counted as 2 for me.
You look much younger since turning it in from the coaching ranks to the broadcast booth. I should point that out.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You seem to be holding your age fairly well, too.
Last season may have been Weich's best coaching year. Took a team battered by injuries, controversy, into the second round of the playoffs. They finished at 9-7, making it to the playoffs by winning their final 2 games. Walloped Houston in the first round, then lost to the Raiders. While last year, the Cleveland Browns, with that disastrous 3-up and 13-down season, leading to the departure of Bud Carson. Quick swing around the scoreboard. Eric Ball, James Brooks are the running backs. Esiason in trouble. Goes short range, and Ball could not hang on.
Well, when it rains, it pours. You know, Cincinnati hasn't had a positive play in a long time, and Esiason now in the no huddle for sure.
And Boomer continues to have his difficulties. He has received some heat back in Cincinnati. He's been intercepted 4 times the first 2 games. Here's Ball, and he stopped. The offense not able to get going. Loss of 2. Van Waiters with the enthusiastic tackle.
He's the guy they're trying to work back in there. I think Bill Belichick thinks he's one of his best 3 linebackers. He was late coming in, and now they're just getting him back into the system. This guy can make some plays for the Browns.
And 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Cleveland 5, Cincinnati 3. NFL's youngest head coach, 39 years old, Bill Belichick, the Browns' 4th coach the last 4 years. Now, Bill, I know you had a relationship with Bill Belichick's dad. That was Steve Belichick, fullback with the Detroit Lions, early 40s, an assistant coach at the U.S. Naval Academy for some 30-odd years.
Well, that goes back to the 60s when I was an assistant coach at Army, and I was in charge of the film exchange, and Bill Belichick's dad, Steve, was coaching at the Naval Academy. Of course, that was our big rival, and we got to know each other that way, and that's how I met Bill. But I'll tell you, this is a dedicated coach, this guy, and one thing I'll tell you, Marv, he never asked me how much money I was going to pay him at the Giants. He just said, pay me what you want to, and I'll work.
That's why you like him so much.
I loved him.
3rd down and 12.
So the management.
From the 18, 4 wideout look for Cincinnati. Esiason with a deeper drop and took the hit. And let's see what the call is. The Browns want a fumble. Are they calling it incomplete?
That's one of these. Is his arm going forward, or, you know, it's going to be the referee's discussion, but they're calling it incomplete.
The ruling is incomplete forward pass.
And, of course, Cincinnati doing the smart thing, getting their punt team right out there in case they're going to review it.
What do you think?
I think it's a good call.
And Lee Johnson back at his 3, punting for the first time. And that was nearly blocked. Fair catch handled by Metcalf. 45-yard punt by the left-footed kicker, Lee Johnson, a one-time Cleveland Brown. And with 1:45 to go in this first half, the Browns back to the offense from their 37-yard line. Cleveland with a 5-3 lead on Cincinnati. A 21-yard field goal by Breach in the first quarter. James Brooks tackled in the end zone for a safety, cutting it to 3-2 in the second, and then a 30-yard field goal by Matt Stover to give the Browns a 5-3 lead on the Bengals, who come in with a record of 0-2 off 2 wallopings at the hands of Denver and Houston. Cleveland had 1 up and 1 down. And the play is blown dead.
False start. Number 74, the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That is Paul Farron.
Well, that's also that new rule where Farron, you know, they're going to just blow it dead as soon as he goes in motion. Now, last year, if he'd have reset, no one moved, they wouldn't have had that call. But they're calling a lot more closely this year.
Paul Farron replacing Dan Fike at right tackle. Fike shaken up earlier. It has been a whistle-happy first half. 9 penalties in all accepted.
6 for Cincinnati. That's about enough for 2 or 3 games.
And in the most unusual fashion, we've seen 4 face mask calls, 3 against the Bengals, 1 against the Browns.
Well, they come in bunches, you know, it's like season.
I see. Catches. Let me write that down.
Yeah, it is catching. It always happens.
First down at the 15, and it's Metcalf to the outside. Rod Jones ran him out. That went for just 5. Metcalf could not make the turn.
No, there's nothing inside. Cincy very alert on that. Metcalf did a good job just getting 5 yards on the play because he just had to outrun everybody. You see him, he starts up here in the middle. They're trying to use a tackle trap here with Farron pulling and trapping, but there's no hold. Metcalf just turns around and runs the other way.
Second down play from the 36. And again, the short range attempt. Metcalf had it broken up by Francis.
Well, I think the Cleveland has to be very, very careful here because they've only used 12 seconds, and they're looking at a 3rd and long. You didn't want to give the Bengals the ball back in this situation if you could help it. So if they don't execute this play, then Cincy's got the chance to get the momentum going into the half. Something that Bill Belichick didn't want to happen, I can assure you.
So it's a 3rd down at 11. Kosar has the first down. Webster Slaughter wide open for a 14-yard advance.
It's the same thing. Now, this is the second key 3rd down where Kosar's gone to Slaughter against Billups. And Billups, on 11 yards, should be sitting on this route much tighter than he is. He turns before Slaughter even threatens him and doesn't react. Now, that's not real good defense by Billups, number 24.
Did he lose sight of the first down marker?
Well, I'm sure he's lost sight of something.
4th catch of the day by Slaughter. First down at midfield for the Browns. Kosar with a sideline pass from Michael Jackson. Good-looking rookie out of Southern Mississippi. That went for 15. Unusual to see a wide receiver wearing number 1. Michael Thriller Jackson. We talked to him yesterday. He said he likes number 1. It's long and skinny like him.
Well, what's going on here is Kosar's working on Billups no matter who's over there. This time he went to Jackson.
Just under a minute left in the half. Again, sideline to the other side. Webster Slaughter with a gorgeous move for 18 more.
This is just one-on-one football. It's the receivers of Cleveland against the corners of Cincinnati, and the Cleveland receivers are winning.
See the clock running. Browns have 1 timeout left. Out of 35 seconds to go in the half. First down at the Cincinnati 17. And Kosar incomplete. Intended for Danny Peebles, a rookie from North Carolina State.
Well, Bernie was going for the end zone there. He's got 1 timeout. He didn't want to waste it here. He's saving it for the field goal. He'll take a couple of more shots and then go for the field goal. But his key guy, Webster Slaughter, right now in the 2-minute drive, is on the sideline getting his shoulder checked.
2nd and 10 from the 17. Jackson is to the right. And Peebles, who, like Jackson, can fly, is to the left at the bottom of your screen. 24 seconds left in the half. Shorter range attempt, but he underthrew Metcalf.
Well, he was being extra cautious there. It wasn't a good throw, but he was trying to keep it away from Rod Jones, just sneak it to Metcalf low, and Metcalf really didn't have a chance to make that play.
Kosar now 9 for 18 for 98 yards. Clock shows 21 seconds remaining in the first half. It's a 5-3 lead. Cleveland over Cincinnati as we wind down in the first half. Michael Jackson split wide to the right.
They go for the end zone here.
Kosar throwing end zone. Intended for Webster Slaughter.
I thought that's what he would do. He's settling for the field goal, try to lay it up in the end zone. He had Jackson on the right side if he would have gone to him, but he had his mind made up for Slaughter.
So Matt Stover, who hit from 30 earlier in the second quarter, 3 out of 4 on the season, will attempt from 36. Hansen will hold. His career high, 32. Oh, it is boxed up on the snap. And so much for the field goal attempt.
Well, that changes the momentum back to Cincinnati right there.
Well, the Cleveland Browns with a new snapper in Brian Kinchin, what with the injury suffered by Randy Kirk, who was on injured reserve. And let's take a look at that snap by
Back
Kinchin.
on one bounce, you know. Every time you bring a new snapper in, you worry about this. And, you know, it looked good in practice the other day. I was there watching him, and everything went fine. But the one different ingredient today is pressure, Marv. It's under pressure, and some guys respond to it, and some guys don't.
Brian Kinchin spent 3 years with the Dolphins, went to Green Bay on Plan B. He's a tight end, but primarily a long snapper.
Well, the other thing is I've never seen so many tight ends in the league snapping for field goal.
Perhaps telling us about the security at that position, the way things are going.
Last week we had 2 tight ends snapping for field goal.
Last game, Cincinnati, 5 yards, still first down.
So the delay of game called with 11 seconds remaining in the half, and it will be a 1st and 15 for the Bengals from their 23-yard line. Now they reset the clock. 12 seconds to go in this first half. Brooks. And the clock is stopped with 7 seconds remaining. Randy Hilliard making the stop on James Brooks as Cincinnati calls for a timeout. So the Bengals have 1 timeout remaining. Reminder, next Saturday, NBC's coverage of Notre Dame football will continue. The Irish hosting the Spartans of Michigan State. And our coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern Time with Notre Dame Saturday, hosted by Gail Gardner and Ahmad Rashad. Michigan State and Notre Dame next Saturday starting at 1. The Browns 5 and the Bengals 3.
Well, Boomer might take a shot here and use his last time out. I don't think he has quite enough time to do it, but he could hit a 20 and 30-yarder here.
And he goes sideline from Mike Bobber. And again, Esiason taking a hard hit. Penalty marker is thrown with 3 seconds remaining in the half.
Pretty good aggressive pass rush here by Cleveland. I really don't know what Cincinnati's trying to accomplish here. I mean, they haven't got enough time to really get in the scoring zone, and you know, you set your quarterback up for something like that going into the half. You know, to me, you might be better just downing the ball and going in and regrouping.
Apparently it was an inadvertent flag, and Brooks just runs it out. And that is it for the first half. Brooks tripped up by James Jones. So the Browns applauded as they head off, leading the Bengals by the score of, yes, 5-3 at the half. Now let's go to our studios. Here's Bob. Welcome back to Cleveland. Marv Albert with Bill Parcells. I say strange score. And how about some of these stats, Bill? 10 penalties in all called in the first half. 3 fumbles, 2 coughed up by Cleveland, 1 by Cincinnati. From an artistic point of view, not a wonderful first half, but the Browns certainly have to be satisfied.
A little sloppy, but a tough, hard-nosed football game. And yeah, you're right, Marv. The Browns are definitely satisfied. Only thing bad for them, they missed that field goal chance there right late near the half.
That off the botched snap. The big play of the first half, James Brooks caught in the end zone for a safety, and this seems to turn things around for the Browns.
Well, here you see Pleasant, the safety. This guy's going to go in motion. Brooks is going to run the sweep this way. Pleasant's going to come up, quickly force the sweep through. and the defensive linemen for Cleveland are going to come in and make the play. There goes the man in motion. Pleasant starts walking up on the line. As the guy goes, here he comes across the line. Good penetration inside. 2 points for Cleveland. Defense gets really excited on that.
Yes, what an emotional lift provided on this play as you look from behind the line, and James Brooks hauled down. That cut it to a 3-2 lead. Prior to the safety, Breach had hit from 21 yards away. On the safety, it cut it to 3-2, and then Stover connected on a 30-yard field goal late in the second quarter for the 5-3 lead. Now look at the halftime statistics, and the Browns have had the ball for just under 18 minutes, and that's exactly what Bill Belichick told us he wanted to do when we had our chat yesterday.
Well, they're trying to play error-free. They didn't play error-free the first quarter with the 2 turnovers, but they survived those 2 turnovers. They came back, got their game plan going, got the way they wanted to play this game established, and now it's just a question if they can keep it that way or if Cincinnati has enough wherewithal to come back and do it.
Bill Belichick in his first year as head coach of the Browns, spent 12 years as your assistant with the Giants, primarily as defensive coordinator.
This is a win here against the Bengals that would do him an awful lot of good if he could get it.
All right, ball on the return of the kickoff. And he's hit down across the 25. He went for 21 yards. Lattenberry on the stop. Back to the subject of Bill Belichick. By junior high school, he was helping his dad, as we mentioned earlier, coached at the Naval Academy, break down game films. By 23, had a job as a special assistant to Baltimore Colts head coach Ted Marchibroda. Compensation, room, board, and $25 a week.
Well, nobody gave this guy anything. He paid his dues. You know, he did all the dirty jobs there are in football. He's done them all.
First down for the 26. McGee. And he is ridden out of bounds. A short pickup. Randy Hilliard made the stop. Vince Newsom also involved.
Hilliard's been a surprise guy for the Browns. He's one of this draft class that looks like it's going to be a good foundation for Cleveland, along with Ed King and Eric Turner when he gets back. It looks like a pretty good draft class for Cleveland.
Second down and 6. Off the draw, Metcalf finding running, or rather Brooks finding running room. And Newsom and Matthews combined on the stop. So it is a first down.
Cincinnati, and they're on the line offense now. No more sugar huddle. They're in the no huddle. Boomer calling the play. Cleveland changing their defenses. Their backs giving each other signals.
First down from the 39. Here's Brooks. He's to the 45-yard line. The free safety, Vince Newsom. One-time Los Angeles Ram, acquired as a Plan B free agent. On the tackle, Boomer Esiason, 7 for 12 for only 48 yards. Bernie Kosar, 9 for 19 for 98 yards. Both clubs, for the most part, keeping it on the ground. Second down and 4 at the 45. Now Brooks and Taylor in the backfield. Again, the good rush. Esiason able to complete to the tight end. Holman backed up by Matthews.
This tight end delay is the second time you've seen it. They threw it to Caddis on the other side. Esiason back, Brooks clearing through. There's the rookie, James Jones. Good lick on Esiason, right on his back, but he still hits it to Holman.
And it's a first down for Cincinnati. Harold Green trying to get outside, could not. The ball was jarred free, and it's recovered by the Browns. The free safety, Vince Newsom, on the recovery.
There you see Green trying to cut it up inside. Too much Brown pursuit. He gets a little sloppy right at the end of the ball. His momentum was really stopped. Now, that might not be really a fumble, Marv. They're going to give it to the Browns, but his momentum was stopped. The thing is, he's still fighting a little bit, and they let it go, and the Browns stripped it off. Here's a review now.
Play is being reviewed. Play is being reviewed.
Now, all this is going to be about is, was his momentum stopped? If his momentum was stopped, it's not a fumble. If he's still fighting for yardage, it is. And that's the discretion of the replay official.
If the fumble holds up, it will be the second of the day
Play stands.
by Cincinnati.
First down.
And the play does stand.
Must have been a little wiggle right there at the end.
So the Bengals with 2 fumbles. The Browns with 2. Brooks and Green coughing it up for Cincinnati. Morris and Kosar for the Browns. Cleveland first down from their 46. Metcalf and Mack, the running back. Slaughter refusing to go down. Eric Thomas finally wrestled him to the ground. It's a pickup of 20.
Webster Slaughter, here again working against Thomas, just gives him a little wiggle, beats him inside. Metcalf is also a great player to have on offense. You deploy him out, it's almost like having another wide receiver. Cleveland has a good advantage there. They used him out wide. They've got him set wide again.
On deep back is Kevin Mack, first out of the Cincinnati 25-yard line. Kevin Mack was a question mark for today because of a sprained left ankle. Did not start. Bill Belichick did not go with him until later on in the first half.
I don't think he's quite himself yet, but he's trying to get through this game. I think he knows the importance of it and what it would do for this young Cleveland Brown team. So he's in there doing his best, but as I said, I think it'll just be spot duty.
That was his 3rd carry of the day. 2nd and 6. Down to the 21. Cleveland 5, Cincinnati 3. 4 minutes gone by in the 3rd quarter. Penalty flag thrown. Metcalf tried to change direction. A good play. A one-handed tackle by Alonzo Mitz. However, a flag is down.
Well, if Metcalf made that attempt to turn around again, he got away with that.
Illegal motion. Number 34. The penalty is declined. 3rd down.
As I was saying, Metcalf was trying to reverse his field. He got away with that earlier in the game, but, you know, you can go to the well once too often.
Kevin Mack called for the illegal motion. It's a 3rd down and 10 at the 25-yard line. Cincinnati has beaten Cleveland 4 straight, 5 of the last 6. Last time Browns beat Cincinnati October of '88. That was here in Cleveland by the score of 23-16. Kosar swinging it out to Horde. And Alfred Williams would not allow Leroy Horde to get outside.
Well, that time Cleveland left their regular offense in the game. Usually that would be a nickel passing situation, but Cleveland elected to leave their regular offense in the game instead of using their extra wide receivers.
And here is Matt Stover to attempt a 43-yard field goal. Earlier hit from 30, and then final seconds of the half, the snap was botched. This one is put right through. And that is a career high from Matt Stover, connecting from 43 yards away. Again, the Bengals have fumbled. It's their 3rd of the day, and it's Cleveland taking over.
Well, you know, football's a game of aggressiveness, and right now, or since late in the 1st quarter, the only team that's been very aggressive out there is the Cleveland Browns. And now Cincinnati's in a real bind. They've got to hold them out here. There you see the ball under a pile of Browns. Hard to see exactly what happened.
The Browns take over at the Bengal 25-yard line. Mack with the straight-ahead move. Kevin Walker on the stop. So the return man, Eric Ball, fumbling it away to the Browns. Brooks, Green, and Ball have all fumbled. 3 for Cincinnati, 2 by Cleveland, but the 2 Cleveland fumbles were early in the game, turning on that safety with Brooks caught in the end zone to cut it to a 3-2 Cincinnati lead. And on 30 and 42-yard field goals by Matt Stover, the Browns now lead it 8-3. Second down and 7. Mack. And he's driven back. Alonzo Mitz starting at left defensive end for the injured Lamar Rogers, making the stop on Kevin Mack. Mitz number 99 with Seattle for 4 years, signed with San Francisco, released on their final cut, and then signed with the Cincinnati Bengals.
I think Bill's taking a pretty conservative approach here offensively. He wants to get this 3 points so that it'll take more than a Cincinnati touchdown to overcome the lead. He wants to get 8 points ahead if he can.
It's a 3rd down and 5 at the 20. And Kosar's peg incomplete.
He had it there. He had the play. Little low. I'd have to fault Kosar on the throw, although Slaughter did get both hands on it. A little low and inside. Should have had it. Right? Better throw than I thought it was. Should have had it.
And once again, Matt Stover.
Now, Matt was a little erratic when I first got him. I asked him if they had goalposts down there in Louisiana that he could have kicked it where he wants to.
This from 38, and he's got it. His 3rd of the day. Matt Stover, one-time Giant, picked up on Plan B. He was on injured reserve with the Giants last year, has done it once again. Coughed it up. The official word is that it was recovered by Richard Brown, and now Mitchell Price has replaced Eric Ball. So Price is back with Harold Green. Sam Weiss obviously upset about that last fumble and makes the change. And Price on the return. He went for 17 and was able to hold on. Mike Oliphant on the stop. Look at the Hurts 10-minute ticker. Miami and Detroit still tied at 10. Giants trying to claw their way back, now trailing the Bears 13-10 in the 3rd. Washington over Phoenix. A long day for Bob
Honeymoon's over in Phoenix. And honeymoon's over for Costas.
Turning on both Costas and the Phoenix Cardinals. The Browns 11, the Bengals 3. First down play, and again Boomer short range. It's Craig Taylor, and he's hit for a loss. Frank Minifield up from the left corner to make the stop, and the Browns, a club that has been playing inspired football defensively, and that was triggered off the safety that took place in the 2nd quarter.
Well, the Browns are, it's a battle of wills here now. The Bengals running the no huddle. The Browns challenge to keep their poise. Boomer calling plays. The Browns audible in defenses. It's a battle of wills going on. It's a chess match.
2nd down and 10. Brooks, and he is stopped.
See, what happened there was Cincinnati called the run audible, and on the last minute, the Browns brought up more guys than Cincinnati could block, and they get them in an outnumber situation.
3-yard advance. Jones and Johnson combined to make the tackle. It's a 3rd down and 7 at the 26-yard line. 7.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. Bengals have the double tight end. Caddis joining Holman. Brooks. And he's held in check. Tripped up across the 30 by Randy Hilliard. Mike Johnson also involved, and the crowd responds to the Cleveland Browns defensive unit.
Well, there's the dog pound. They're barking now. You see all those bones down in there and those dog biscuits. And you get there's one of those guys with his mask on and a hard hat. It's a great weapon.
And Lee Johnson punting for the second time. Metcalf on the return. A host of good moves, although the Bengals handled it well. 39-yard punt and an 11-yard return. Ed Brady on the stop of the stutter-stepping Eric Metcalf. 6:29 to go in the third. Back in Cleveland, the Browns take over at their 42-yard line. They lead the Bengals by the score of 11-3. Kosar off the pump. Leroy Horde for the first down. Whistle was blown. Play was dead. Kevin Walker on the stop of Horde. Cleveland Browns have been getting excellent field position. The average drive start has been from their own 40-yard line. They just started from the 42. Joe Morris, who went down in the first half with an injured knee, obviously out the rest of the way.
But he's walking around pretty well. I think he'll be all right next week, and fortunately it's not too serious. Joe's a hard guy to keep down. He'll be back pretty quick. He's a fast guy.
All right, first down at the 47-yard line now in Cincinnati territory. Marv Albert with the former head coach of the New York Giants, Bill Parcells. Second back coming through, Eric Metcalf was stopped by Skip McClendon.
McClendon's a guy that was a starter for Cincinnati for a couple of years ago, and Sam Weiss told us that he was in a track meet for charity, and he stepped on a rail or the side of the track and broke his ankle, and it's been slow coming back, and he just doesn't seem to have quite the same push-off as he had when he was younger.
He did not have a good preseason. He was cut and then re-signed. Second down and 10. Kosar for Metcalf. And the Bengals right there, led by Walker. Kevin Walker has had an outstanding day. His fourth season out of Maryland.
This time the Browns elected to go with their three wide receivers. Last time down in the scoring zone on the last third down and long situation, they didn't do it, but now they've got him in there, Langhorne in.
Reggie Langhorne has not been getting the playing time, coming off an injury-hit season, but seeing some action today with Brian Brennan sidelined by a pulled hamstring. It's a third down and 6 from the 43. Kosar with the fake and has Jackson. Penalty marker is thrown. It's a pickup of 10. Michael the Thriller Jackson, who last week caught his first NFL touchdown pass, a 65-yard touchdown pass play. But this one will be brought back.
Offensive pass interference.
Pass interference. Offense, number 88, 10-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
Well, the call against Reggie Langhorne.
Of course, Jackson is a guy that made a big play for the Browns last week, and he's the fastest guy Bernie Kosar's had to throw to here in Cleveland. Kosar was telling us he's the fastest guy since Eddie Brown. Of course, Brown with the Bengals not playing today, but Brown, Kosar's teammate at the University of Miami.
As Kosar said, he's definitely the fastest he's ever had, and he said, I can say it because there's no question the other receivers know it's true. Kosar stepping up, and he threw behind Danny Peebles. Eric Thomas on the coverage, so this time a quickie series for the Browns, and Brian Hansen will come on to punt.
That ball was tipped on the line of scrimmage a little.
Hansen will punt for the third time. Mitchell Price is back deep. .342 remaining. the third quarter. The Cincinnati Bengals continue to have problems scoring with only 3 points. What a punt by Hansen. They'll bring it out to the 20. It goes down as a 53-yard punt.
But I think Coach Belichick would have liked him to punt it down inside the 20 rather than the end zone.
Penalty marker has been thrown downfield. Hansen has been very effective. Usually gets the good hang time. He's averaging just under 40 yards per punt. One-time New England Patriot. It has been a very busy day for this particular group.
Well, these guys, now they're having one of those huddles down there. I don't know what they're talking about. But this is the thing that exasperated me as a coach when you see the referees are out there having one of those group therapy sessions.
I thought you accepted it so well.
There is no foul. No foul in the play. Timeout.
Now, you would have accepted that real well.
Took 2 full minutes to find out that nothing happened.
Thanks today to Goodyear Tires and Blimp Tour 91 for the many overhead shots courtesy of the Spirit of Akron. Blimp Tour 91. Is there such a thing as a Blimp Tour groupie, I'm wondering?
No, I don't think so.
Thanks, Bill. 3:33 to go in this third quarter. And apparently,
now the officials have decided that something did happen.
yeah, the penalty marker was thrown on that prior play and now is being accepted. Illegal block was called on the Bengals. So it starts out 1st and 10 from the 10. Eric Paul and James Brooks are the running backs. Esiason with a deeper drop and fires down. Oh, what an attempt by Rodney Holman. He almost picked it off. Would have been a sensational catch. Took a hit from the strong safety, Harlan Barnett.
Well, the Browns have been trying to play a little two-deep zone here, and this is a good way to attack it. Play fake up on the linebackers, get the tight end down in between the safeties, but Barnett comes over, catches Holman up in the air, and knocks the ball loose.
Harlan Barnett, a native of Cincinnati, although he says he was not a Bengals fan. 2nd down and 10 from the 10, and that dropped.
There's that Randy Hilliard guy again.
Good hit by Hilliard on Reggie Rembert.
Rembert on the inside slant. Hilliard sees it all the way, closes. Contact's a little early, but you notice he keeps his back arm free to make the tackle and strips it, but it could have been a little early. Might have been pass interference.
Penalty marker is down.
I think it's against Cincinnati, though.
And here's Dale Hamer.
Illegal motion. Number 75. Penalty is declined. 2nd down.
That's Bruce Reimers, the left guard. Called on the penalty at the 3rd and 10 from the 10. Browns 11 and the Bengals 3.
Cincy's got an awful lot of possessions without a first down.
Esiason throwing on the run. Mike Barber has a first down. 35-yard pass play. Harlan Barnett on the stop. And that's the biggest offensive play of the day by the Bengals.
And Barber coming in from the left side. Boomer's able to step up in the pocket and get away from the rush, buy some more time. Cleveland had it well covered for a while, but he gets in behind the zone, Barber does, and Boomer has time to get it to him.
Bengals first down from their 35. Ball and Brooks are the running back tandem. Esiason at the time, and a beautiful toss for Eric Caddis. A 16-yard pickup, another first down. Boomer splitting it right through the defenders.
Well, Boomer's got a little momentum going, so you notice he's right up on the line on the no huddle. He sees Cleveland's back on their heels just a little bit, and he's going to try to exploit it.
He has a first down at midfield. 2:20 to go in the third. Cincinnati trailing Cleveland by the score of 11-3. Esiason, and it is picked off by Frank. Let's see, no, it is ruled that he scooped it up. Frank Minifield with a diving attempt. Brown thought they had it. We'll get another look at it.
The field judge had a good look at this play, and Minifield was coming right to you see the official back of the picture there, and he saw that Minifield bounced it right off the ground and gave a quick incomplete signal.
Second down and 10 from the 49. Boomer Esiason now 12 for 20 for 98 yards. Brooks stopped by Michael Dean Perry. Rob Burnett also involved on the tackle. A pickup of 4. It's a 3rd and 6 at the 45-yard line.
A little early to be talking about big plays in the game, but this is as close to there being one for Cincinnati and Cleveland. Both sides of the ball. Cleveland can make this play here. It's a big one.
Let's see what the call is here. It is ruled incomplete. Stephen Braggs on the coverage of Mike Barber, and that is called incomplete.
There you see him coming down inside Barber, low. That's awful close. Oh, it looks like he scrambled under his body to try to... I don't think he had possession of it when he hit the ground.
Tough to see from those angles.
Fourth down here for the Bengals.
And they are going for it, trailing by 8 on a 4th and 6. And the gamble pays off. Lynn James on the reception for the first down.
Well, you get a sense that Sam Weiss had an urgent feeling about this series, too, or he wouldn't have taken that 4th down gamble. He doesn't make that play now. That's a big momentum turner for Cleveland, but here's Cincinnati in the scoring zone. He had to take the chance.
First down play, and some problems with the snap. 50 seconds to go in this third quarter. Boomer Esiason able to recover. Lost a yard. 2nd and 11. Ball just outside the 40-yard line as this third quarter is coming to a close. We're down to 35 seconds remaining.
Well, you see Boomer's in the no huddle, but Sam Weiss sent that play in with Eric Ball from the sideline.
Short setup, and it's Ball reaching out to the 30-yard line. Tripped up by Mike Johnson. He went for 10. Final seconds of the third quarter. And that is it for the third. When we come back at the start of the fourth, it will be Cincinnati ball, a 3rd down and 1. We'll be back after these words from your local station.
Wednesday on NBC Premier Week, eyewitness reports reveal a UFO cover-up.
New Cleveland Browns head coach Bill Belichick and his club not allowing a touchdown for 9 consecutive quarters as we head to the fourth. 11th play of the drive coming up for Sam Weiss and the Bengals, and apparently Sam did not agree with where the ball was respotted as they changed ends of the stadium.
Well, from time to time, the officials have problems with that. I don't know exactly where the problem centered this time. I've heard 2 numbers now, 28, 32. Maybe they'll just compromise and put it on the 30, huh?
Well, according to our crack statistician, young Kenny Albert, he had it listed as 3rd and 1 at the 30 as we ended the third quarter. And Weish making his point, and from time to time we have seen problems with the spotting of the ball.
Well, sometimes.
Let's take a look back at the end of the third quarter, and it should be right at the 30.
Well, I don't know how they could miss that.
Instead, it has been spotted at the 32. I don't believe it. Craig Taylor, stopped by James Jones. That is amazing what we just saw happen.
Well, you never know. These guys are human, and this game isn't without human error, but in this day and time, they should have a way to rectify that situation. The replay guy could call down and say, hey, wait a minute.
It is now a 4th and 1. Cleveland 11, Cincinnati 3. Taylor, and he's picked up the first down. Stopped by Harlan Barnett.
Taylor is a back that Sam told us that he was going to use in goal line, short yardage situations with Eric Ball. You know, Cincinnati really hasn't had a big back like they're used to having. Pete Johnson, Kinnebrew, those Bengal big backs in the past. So this is the best they got now physically. They're using Taylor and Ball as their elephant backfield.
Ball at 6'2" to 210. Taylor 6 foot, 228 pounds. First down at the Cleveland 26. We're just underway in the 4th. Off the fake, Esiason, touchdown, Tim McGee. A 26-yard pass play, a beautiful play fake, and perhaps a bit too much celebration by Tim McGee. A flag thrown in the end zone.
Esiason to McGee, he pumps it.
We have a 5-yard demonstration foul. 5 yards. Forced on a kickoff.
Here's McGee working on the corner. Esiason pumps it, lays it up over Hilliard's head. The touchdown. Now, they call this an inordinate amount of demonstration. I mean, I don't know there's any harm done there.
Does that bother you?
I think you ought to let the players do that.
Oh, high snap. Lee Johnson with a good play to put it down for Jim Breach, and it's a 1-point differential. Bill Parcells back in Cleveland, a 13-play drive with the end result, the 26-yard touchdown pass from Esiason to McGee. McGee's second touchdown of the season. Esiason throwing his 4th. The Bengals had been outscored 27-0 in the 4th quarter this season before that touchdown. Caught by a native of Cleveland, Tim McGee, started at John Hay High School here in Cleveland. Oliphant and Metcalf are back. Another good kickoff, and Metcalf remains in the end zone. So they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Tim McGee, a question mark for today. He was in a car accident during the week.
Yeah.
And also had a cyst on his knee. And while we were away, Tim had the demonstration penalty explained to him.
Well, he's complaining to the official. He caught the ball over there. He ran across the back of the end zone. He just kind of jumped in the air. You know, I understand what this rule's supposed to do, trying to cut out those group demonstrations. They're also a little bit worried about the players getting involved with the crowd and crowd violence, but what he did wasn't worth 5 yards.
And a first down at the 20 for Bernie Kosar and the Cleveland Browns, clinging now to a 1-point lead with a minute and a half gone by in the 4th quarter. Intended for Michael Jackson. Lewis Phillips providing the coverage.
Bernie comes up a little short. I think he'd like to get that throw back. He underthrew that ball a little bit. It wasn't that hard a throw.
I may have mentioned earlier that it's so unusual to see a wide receiver wearing number 1, but Cleveland legitimately ran out of numbers in the 80s series. Only 82 available. That was Ozzie Newsom's number. It probably will be retired, so Michael Jackson allowed to wear number 1. 2nd and 10 from the 20. Oh, there's a mix-up, and Kosar's called down by Alfred Williams.
Well, I don't know what happened there. Mack, you know, has been out. There's a miscommunication with Mack and Kosar. You can't tell whose fault it is, but one of them went the wrong way. And lucky there wasn't a fumble. Had a pretty good collision back there.
On a check of the Fram 10-minute ticker. Detroit now leading Miami in the fourth. Chicago pulling back in front of the Giants. And look at Washington over the Phoenix Cardinals. Costas going down very emphatically.
And also, you know, Don Shula going for his 300th win in Detroit. Quite an accomplishment.
Third down and 12 back at the 18. Kosar from the shotgun. Oh, what a catch by Webster Slaughter. Spectacular catch for a 13-yard advance, and for Slaughter, his 7th reception of the day.
Well, here you see Slaughter against Phillips again. Phillips a little tighter on the coverage, gets away though. See, Phillips hasn't been in the lineup for a couple of weeks. He may not be used to seeing that quickness. He's been nursing an injury, and sometimes it takes you a little while to get back in game condition, and they're working on him pretty well. That's 3 big third downs there.
All day, all day.
Browns first down from their 31.
2-4,
Metcalf coming off. Here's Mack. Stopped by the nose tackle, Tim Krumrie, along with inside linebacker Carl Zander. Picked up 2. It'll be a 2nd down and 8 at the 33. The Cleveland Browns, with a record of 1-1, lost to Dallas last week in Foxborough, beat New England. The defense coming up with a strong game. 4 overs, 4 sacks. Browns had good field position all afternoon. That has also been the case here today against Cincinnati.
Well, they're playing exactly the way they want to play. If their offense can just go down and get another score, put the pressure back on Cincinnati, the defense will be able to play from in front again.
Lee Roussan has checked in. He is the lone deep back. And Kosar is hit. The loose ball, Metcalf diving at it, couldn't come up with it.
They're going to call this one incomplete, his arm motion going forward. The referee signaled in the backfield that he had his arm going forward. David Grant was the guy putting on the pressure. They just turned him loose. That's a missed assignment by Cleveland. Looks like the left guard, John Reinstra.
That was an open shot for David Grant. He's moved up and down the line. He's finally found a home at right defensive end. It is a 3rd down and 9 from the 32. Well, they did review it, and as you say, Bill, it is called an incomplete pass.
They're still having a conversation here. Here you see Grant. Without question, Reinstra's supposed to have him. I think his arm was going forward.
After further review, play stands, 3rd down.
There you see it started forward. His elbow was cocked. They just got the back of his hand as he started the thrust on the throw.
Reggie Langhorne split wide left side. Michael Jackson to the right. 3rd down play for the Browns. Look out. Kosar gets it away, and it's deflected. Pass incomplete. Intended for Slaughter, and he's shaken up.
Now they've hit him 2 times in a row now. This is a big hit. Slaughter's down. Kosar was down. Fortunately, Kosar got up.
Webster Slaughter last year had an injury hit season, bothered by tendonitis in his right knee. Still led the Browns with 59 catches. He's had 7 receptions today for 98 yards.
Ball thrown just a little bit behind him. The defensive back on his back and just kind of dragged over the top of him and took him into the ground. Without question, some kind of leg injury, but fortunately it doesn't look too serious.
Timeout has been called. We'll be back in a moment. For the 4th time, Mitchell Price on the return. out to the 39-yard line. A 36-yard punt and a 6-yard return by Price. The Browns 11 and the Bengals 10. 10:54 to go in the fourth quarter. And it appears that Mitchell Price is shaken up. No further report on Webster Slaughter, who went off a moment ago.
Well, there's another case of defensive backs, the smaller guys, an awful lot of those injuries. There you see Webster Slaughter. He's all right, but
Mitchell Price, a 9th-round draft pick last year and a major surprise out of Tulane University.
Now you see him on the punt return, jukes a couple of guys. Doesn't look like anything serious. A couple of guys fall on him, and you don't really know why he's not getting up. Maybe just twisted it in the turf. They're working on his knee a little bit. Here's another look at it. Makes a couple quick dodge moves and just goes down.
When we resume, it'll be a first down at the 37-yard line. Coming up next, the second part of our doubleheader. Many of you will see Jim Kelly lead the Buffalo Bills into battle against the New York Jets. And others will see Eric Dickerson and the Indianapolis Colts go up against the Los Angeles Raiders. So Eric Dickerson making his return to L.A. as Mitchell Price looks to be all right. Cincinnati Bengals come in at 0-2. Losses to Denver and Houston. And with that tough schedule upcoming, next Sunday home for Washington, and then 3 straight on the road. Here's Brooks. Run out by Randy Hilliard. He went for 6. It'll be a second down and 4.
Well, Cleveland's doing some substituting on their defensive line here, trying to keep some fresh people in there.
Now it looks like Anthony Munoz is down. It has been a very difficult day physically.
Physically for both sides. I think Cleveland's making a good move here by inserting the new defensive linemen, Conover and Logan, and try to give their guys a little rest for the late part of the game in case they need that pass rush.
It's been a hot and humid day, 87 degrees right at game time. Anthony Munoz, a question mark coming into today because of an injured shoulder. Had some problems injury-wise last year. Over the years, a man who set the standards for tackles in the National Football League, a 10-time Pro Bowl player.
Well, I remember, Marv, Phil Simms and I sitting around, and we were having a discussion about the great players in the National Football League, and he said, Bill, how many great players do you think there are? And we got to 5. We named 5 names. We got to 5, and this guy was one of them, and we couldn't get past 5. But Munoz is truly a great player, and you're right, he is the standard. Very athletic guy.
Who were the others?
Well, of course, we had Joe Montana in that group, and we had Jerry Rice, and Lawrence Taylor was in that group. And on production alone, we put Eric Dickerson in that group.
Great, such an overused term, and I know that both you and Phil are tough. So
Really?
only 5, huh?
Well, we had some guys that we put in a category called better than good.
Well, there was a lot of study put into this, obviously.
Right. Now, Reggie White would be in that better than good, and so would Richard Dent. But when you start using the word great, this is a...
And Munoz being helped off. Here's a look at how he got hit.
Here's Munoz right there. You see him at the left tackle spot. Now the play will be run. He comes down on the down block, tries to get off on the linebacker. 94, Conover runs into his back, and really that's all that happened.
And we're set to pick it up 2nd and 5 at the 43. Frank Conover in there right now, a rookie 9th-round draft pick out of Syracuse. Brooks with the opening. And And a penalty marker down. Again, looks to be a face mask. He went for 25. What a move to the outside by James Brooks. I don't think the NFL keeps statistics on most face mask penalties in one game, but I think this would be right there.
Number 39 in the defense from the end of the run.
It's called on Randy Hilliard.
There it is. Hilliard grabbing without question. Inadvertent, but 5 yards. Now Cleveland has to put their first-team defensive lineman back in the game. They were only able to get a couple of plays out of those substitute defensive linemen, and I'm sure Bill Belichick's a little upset with the results of that substitution.
Harold Green and Eric Ball in the backfield. And this is Green to the 25. Mike Johnson at a linebacker. 6-year man from Virginia Tech making the stop. Just under 10 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. It is Cleveland 11 and Cincinnati 10. A second down and 8 from the 25.
Well, you see what happens. Those young people are always wanting to get in the game, and then you put them in, and then something like that happens, 2 long runs, and Monday in the film session, the coach say, hey, if you want to play, you better do something when you get in there.
Esiason with the play fake. And it's dropped. Randy Holman did not make the reception. The pressure put on by Anthony Pleasant. And we're set for another update. Let's go to Bob Phoenix Cardinal Costas.
I don't think there's time for Phoenix to overcome a 34-0 deficit now that you mentioned it, Marv. But watch this play. Brian Wagner to punt for New England. Not what you would call an outstanding boot. It hits his teammate Marvin Allen in the hip. A grateful Ernie Mills picks it up in the end zone, and New England's chances are just about buried. 2 minutes to go at Pittsburgh. They're down 20-6. Marv?
All right, Bob, and off the scramble, it was Boomer Esiason running to his left and forced out of bounds, leading to another penalty flag. And is it possible yet another face mask? Here it is.
I've never seen so many face masks. You see Boomer, everybody's covered. Matthews on his guy. Boomer scrambling, still looking, decides to run. Here comes Mike Johnson right on the face mask.
That's 6 or 7 that have been called here this afternoon.
It seems like, Marv, if we gave him one more, it might be an even dozen to me.
2 fouls on the play. Too many men on the field. On the defense, 5-yard face mask on the defense.
Double jeopardy. Too many men on the field, plus a face mask called on that man, Mike Johnson.
Well, if this had been another penalty of greater yardage, Cincinnati would have had the choice of taking the greater yardage, but since they're both 5 yards, quite naturally it's just 5 yards assessed.
However, the Bengals are on the move. They will have a first down at the Cleveland 15. Sam Weish going with a backfield combination of Harold Green and Craig Taylor. He continues to shuffle. McGee split to the right. James left. They just did get the play off. Taylor on the slant for a short pickup, stopped by the free safety, Vince Newsom.
They're in field goal range. There's Sam signaling the personnel. He wants those guys in the game. You heard him yell at him right there.
And Brooks and Ball now check in. Fan of defense from this capacity crowd of better than 80,000 in Cleveland. Second down and 9 at the 14. Esiason hit down again. Anthony Pleasant, in his second year out of Tennessee State, getting to the quarterback, Boomer Esiason.
And it's off the left side now. You know, Munoz is out of the game, and Pleasant working up against Brian Blados, number 74, beats him inside. Comes around. Esiason doesn't see him. There it is.
That's the first sack of the day for the Browns. Pleasant with his first of the season. Anthony Munoz sitting it out right now after going down, replaced by Brian Blados. Third down and 15. And again, they just did get the play off. Brooks is stopped. So the Cleveland defense coming up very strong on this series. Mike Johnson, Anthony Pleasant combining to make the tackle.
But this is the problem Cincinnati's had. They're juggling offensive linemen every week. Blados is the guy that has to play every spot. He gets thrown in at left tackle in a key situation of the game and gives up the sack to Pleasant. Now it's going to be a 2-point differential if he makes this field goal instead of a touchdown.
And it's a 36-yard attempt on a 4th down and 13. Breach earlier, hit from 21. And the Cincinnati Bengals have taken the lead. They lead it by the score of 13-11. 6:41 remaining in the 4th quarter, and the Cincinnati Bengals now lead the Cleveland Browns by the count of 13-11. And Eric Metcalf remaining in the end zone, so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. A check of the 10-minute ticker. Detroit leading Miami in the 4th, and the Chicago Bears have knocked off your New York Giants. Bill, they have fallen to 1 up and 2 down. Washington with the victory over Phoenix. I must say you called the shot on that Bear-Giant game. You thought the Giants were in trouble this afternoon.
I thought they might be in a little trouble. Everything going for Chicago psychologically. The big win in the playoffs last year. Now they have to go out there and play in Chicago.
It will be another very difficult week, though, for your successor, Ray Handley, fielding the questions.
Well, it will, and you know, it's time to get it going. They have Cleveland in New York next week, and you know, it's still early in the season, but Washington looks like, you know, it's a 2-game lead. You don't want to fall too far back, and they're already 2 down to them.
And that was your preseason selection of the NFC East.
Because of the schedule.
Apparently Leroy Horde was shaken up.
Well, Cleveland here, 6:35 to go, would methodically like to run and pass the ball down the field, get it in position to kick the winning field goal. If they go 3 and out here, Cincinnati might take enough time off the clock with the running game to force Cleveland into the pressure passing situation. Right now, Cleveland can still play the way they want to, but their next possession they won't be able to.
Kosar starting from his 20. Metcalf and Mack are the running backs, so the Metcalf is split out. That's Jackson coming in motion. Kosar. I'm not sure if that was intended for Jackson. It is ruled incomplete. Looked like it was knocked down inadvertently.
Yeah, it was intended for Jackson, but he threw it a little low. I think Francis got his hands up.
Kosar 1 for his last 6. And overall, he's 14 for 30, 148 yards. 2nd and 10 from the 20. Now Metcalf in the slot. Webster Slaughter, apparently all right, is split out to the right side.
Blitz.
Kosar got it away, and it was nearly picked off by Billups. Intended for Slaughter.
Well, Bernie saw it coming. He knew what to do. He had the right route. He just threw it behind Slaughter. That could have been 6 if he just let him in front. Nice play by Billups.
Carl Zander making the move on Kosar off the blitz. It's a 3rd down and 10 at the 20.
We got to get going. Cleveland 3rd and 10.
And Kosar throws a pop fly downfield that is broken up. intended for Jackson, covered by Price. And the punting unit will come on.
There you see Price, Jackson number 1, got a good height advantage. Kosar throws it up. It's a jump ball. Price gets his arm right up like you're supposed to, in between Jackson's hands, and makes the play.
And here's Brian Hansen to punt for the 5th time this afternoon. Mike Bobber now is back. Mitchell Price went down earlier this quarter. And Bobber to the 46-yard punt, 10-yard return. Brian Kinchin on the tackle, and let's see what this flag involves. Referee Dale Hamer has had almost as much mic time as you have today, Bill.
Another group meeting.
We have 2 fouls on the play. 2 fouls. A player illegally downfield on the kicking team, holding on the receiving team. Penalties offset. We'll replay it down.
So it is a do-over. A reminder, following our doubleheader of football, NBC's premiere week gets underway this evening. 4 new shows and a network premiere movie. First, The Adventures of Bart and Brian.
Was illegally downfield.
And then it's the show that critics call the best new program of the season, Erie, Indiana. And 2 outstanding comedies starring James Garner and Robert Guillaume. Then John Ritter stars in the box office hit Problem Child, a network premiere movie. It's a night of premieres tonight right here on NBC. Mike Bobber was sent reeling back. And Bobber gets across the 35, a 56-yard punt, a 14-yard return. Scott Galbraith on the tackle of Bobber. And it will be a first down at the 38-yard line. Anthony Munoz is back on the field. Good news for the Cincinnati Bengals as they continue to shuffle on the offensive line.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Cincinnati take a lot of time in the huddle now. This no-huddle stuff should be over, and I think they'll keep the ball on the ground if they can.
The stat line on Esiason, 15 for 25, 140 yards, 1 touchdown. That to Tim McGee early in this 4th quarter. 5:55 remaining in the 4th. Cincinnati leading 13-11. Brooks. Oh, he found an opening. Brooks across the 45 in Cleveland territory. A 19-yard run stopped by Randy Hilliard. And he has got over the 100-yard mark, 111, and looks like Munoz is hurt again. He's replaced by Brian Blados. He's had the shoulder problem.
Well, Munoz in there, comes down again, but he just can't run. He just cannot run. I think he probably took himself out, Marv. He knows he can't play now. He's going to hurt the team if he does, so it's a smart thing to get out of.
James Brooks ran for 101 yards last week against Houston. He's at 111 this afternoon. Harold Green down to the 40-yard line. For Brooks, his 17th career 100-yard game. And he's gunning for a 3rd straight 1,000-yard rushing season. If he does it again, he'll match Walter Payton as the only 30 or older runner to surpass 1,000 yards on 3 occasions. James Brooks.
You'd have to throw him in there in that better than good category.
Better than good. Cannot crack the upper echelon.
Not yet.
You're tough. 2nd down and 7 from the 41 with 4:35 to go in the 4th, and Anthony Munoz headed back to the Cincinnati locker room. Lynn James flanks to the right. McGee left. Green and Taylor in the backfield.
Boomer using the full clock here,
which he has been doing throughout the fourth quarter. Harold Green stopped in his tracks by Rob Burnett. Burnett in his second year out of Syracuse, fifth-round draft pick last season. He emerged as a starter in the final weeks of last season.
Well, you're at the play of the day for the Cleveland defense right now. 3rd down and 10. Cincinnati converts this one. The clock's their ally. They take it down. They make Cleveland use their timeouts. Take it under 2 minutes.
And the crowd urging the defensive unit on. Esiason had the time. Oh, what a catch. And now it's ruled incomplete. Lynn James thought he had it. Covered by Minifield and Barnett, but the ruling is incompleted pass.
Boomer put it right on the money, right in his hands. I don't know what the problem is. He's juggling it as it hits the ground. It's an incomplete pass. That's an excellent call by the field judge. That's what he's there for, but he did a good job on that play, because that wasn't an easy one.
And the Bengals forced to punt. Lee Johnson back for his 3rd punt of the day, so the Browns will get it back with 3:19 remaining in the fourth quarter. They're trailing by 2. Cincinnati 13, Cleveland 11. Well, they are looking at it. Checking it out on the replay now.
Here you see James juggling the ball just a little bit in between his hands. He hasn't got full possession right now. Goes on the ground. Ball bounces up into his stomach. Good call. They will not reverse that one.
Lynn James, 5th-round draft pick last season.
Play stands.
And it does stand.
4th down.
Boomer Esiason telling us yesterday that James is by far the Bengals' most improved player, one of the fastest players to come out of last year's draft, but he's come on this season. And Metcalf let it go. Just to see where they spot it. It will go down as a 30-yard punt. And Cleveland gets it back with 3 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. They'll spot it at the 13. Coming up next, following the Browns of the Bengals, many of you will see the Buffalo Bills off to the explosive start, go up against the New York Jets. Some of you will see the Indianapolis Colts and the LA Raiders from the Coliseum in LA. Sideline huddle being utilized this season by the Cleveland Browns.
Well, they've probably taken the opportunity to call 2 plays in there.
Bernie Kosar only 1 for his last 8. He will start out. They spot it now at the 12. First down from the 12. Cincinnati Bengals looking for their first victory of the season. A record of 0-2. While the Browns had 1 up and 1 down. And Kosar with the time in medium range to Reggie Langhorne for a pickup of 7. Carl Zander on the stop. A 2nd down and 2. The ball marked at the 20-yard line.
Cleveland's got to up the tempo here.
Kosar holding onto that snap that went astray and then able to complete to Michael Jackson. Jackson tried to get out of bounds to stop the clock, could not, and the clock is running. Down to 2.5 remaining.
Bernie's trying to get another snap off before the 2-minute warning.
It's a first down at the 30. And now Cincinnati calls for the timeout.
I don't know why they would do that other than to rest their defense.
Cleveland has their 3 timeouts. Cincinnati now with 2 left. On that last reception, the rookie Michael Jackson attempted to get out of bounds, but he could not.
No, he couldn't, but it didn't make any difference because Cincinnati called the timeout. I just can't figure out why they would do that unless they had a mismatch in personnel in the game and were forced to call a timeout to get the right people in.
So the Battle of Ohio goes down to the final minutes, and that man could be prominent. Matt Stover's had a good day. He's hit 3 out of 3. Bernie Kosar, 16 for 34, 167 yards. With a first down play, 2 minutes, 23 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Inside handoff, Evan Mack out to the 34-yard line. Skip McClendon is there to make the stop. It'll be a second down and 6 at the 35 as we wind down toward the 2-minute warning.
He'll try to get one more off before the 2-minute warning.
Couldn't do it. The whistle calling the play, and the clock is stopped. So 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Cincinnati by 2. We'll be right back. To Cleveland Stadium, 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. And the Cincinnati Bengals looking to hold on to a 13-11 lead over the Cleveland Browns, who have a second down and 6 from their 35-yard line. A game of ups and downs, a total of 15 penalties accepted, 9 against Cincinnati, 6 against Cleveland, 5 fumbles in the game, a host of face mask calls. Here's Kosar going sideline, and he has the first down. Webster Slaughter goes for 9. Stopped by David Fulcher for Slaughter, his 8th catch of the day. Here the Browns quickly up to the line, starting now at the 44.
They have plenty of time, though. 3 timeouts.
Kosar got the protection again, sideline, but broken up. Intended for Slaughter, covered by the free safety, Ricky Dixon. Webster Slaughter took a hit earlier this fourth quarter, went to the sideline briefly, but able to make his return.
This is this 2-minute situation now. It's totally in the hands of Bernie Kosar. He's calling the plays. He's been programmed. It's his game right here.
As a 2nd and 10, stepping up. Nice catch. Short of the first down. Langhorne for a 7-yard advance. He had to make the adjustment against Thomas, and he did. Clock is running down to 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining.
If I was Bernie, I might use a timeout here. Make sure you get the right play on this 3rd down.
Waiting in the wings, the field goal kicker, Matt Stover. And the crowd boos the call. Kevin Mack on the carry. And now the clock is stopped with 59 seconds remaining.
Stop for a measurement here. It's not a timeout.
From our angle, it does not look to be a first down.
No, it's going to be 4th down. The referee signaling 4th.
Clock stopped with 59 seconds remaining. I'd like to thank our producer, David Michaels, director Andy Rosenberg, our statistician, Kenny Albert, and our spotters, John Betchko and Jeff Fenner. Nice job all around. Not even close.
No, but they may have requested a measurement from the sideline. The quarterback has the right to do that if he wants to. So they can find out exactly how much yardage they got to go. Yeah, Sam's very disappointed about it. You see him there.
He wants that clock to be flowing. It is 4th and less than a yard. And here's Mack for the first down. Down to 45 seconds remaining. This, at this point, would be a very long field goal attempt for Matt Stover.
Well, I can tell you firsthand, he has no chance to make it from here. They've got to go another 10, minimum.
Yeah, we're looking at a 59, 60-yard attempt right here for Stover, so they must move the ball. They have it now at the 43. Stover's had an excellent day. The only problem was the bad snap by Kinchin, who was warming up along the sideline just a moment ago, but Stover is hit on 3 out of 3.
Well, they'll try to get it inside the 30 to give Stover his best chance. Anything outside the ball on the 30-yard line is a 50-50 deal.
And this, Bill, the 9th play of the drive. First down at the 43. Back is the lone deep back. Again, Kosar got the protection, but the pass was rejected. Batted back by David Grant.
Bernie has gone to the outside route an awful lot here in this last drive. He looked for it again there. He might want to take the ball somewhere else and then use the timeout to stop the clock. Cincinnati's kind of sitting on those outside routes a little bit right now.
Kosar 18 for 38, 183 yards. Goes the other side, and he does complete it. Langhorne stopped by Thomas. That's a 6-yard pickup. It is short of the first down, but the clock is stopped with 33 seconds remaining. So the Browns angling closer.
Well, you see Bernie talking to Bill Belichick there. What they'll do here, their best 3rd and 3 to 5 play, they'll look at that game plan. They've already looked at seeing what Cincinnati's done in this situation throughout the course of the game. And Cleveland will come with their best 3rd down play because they have to move the ball further down the field if they're going to get it in field goal range. Defensively, if you're Cincinnati, this might be the place to go for the blitz.
At this point, it would be a 54-yard field goal attempt.
Little too far. I'm sure they'd make an attempt from here, but it's too far.
It is a 3rd and 4. Out of the 37. Kosar's pass is completed for a first down at the 30 to Langhorne for 7 more. Stopped by Ricky Dixon. Clock is running. Cleveland has 1 timeout remaining. And now it's stopped with 21 seconds left.
But Bernie did not call the timeout. Cleveland still has their 1.
Now, field goal at this point would come from 44 yards away. So the crowd responding as Matt Stover continues to get ready along the sideline. Cincinnati with a 13-11 lead on Cleveland. 23 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Now let's take a look at today's Canon camcorder replay of the game. That'll be coming up following this play. First down at the 29. Kosar going for the touchdown for Jackson. Covered by Billups. They went for the 6. To look at the Canon camcorder replay of the game. The play that turned things around, certainly emotionally, for the Cleveland Browns when they were able to trap James Brooks, tackling him in the end zone for the safety. This was early in the 2nd quarter. At this point, Cincinnati was on top by the score 3-0, cut it to 3-2, and the Browns then came on with the 3 consecutive field goals by Stover. 18 seconds remaining, 2nd and 10, down at the 29-yard line. Here's Mack. Just looking to hold on to that football, does not want to have it jarred loose. Stopped by David Grant. Cleveland has 1 timeout remaining with 8 seconds to go. The clock is stopped. And now the Browns take the timeout, and they will go for the game winner.
I'm a little surprised Mack didn't run right into the center of the field. The ball's on the hash mark there. It's a little more difficult kick. Kevin Mack kind of cut back to the left side of the defense, and if I were him, I would have tried to put it right dead center.
So Matt Stover will attempt from 45 yards away.
Very makeable for Stover. His leg is more than able to kick this distance. But, as I said before, Marv, there's a little difference in kicking them in the first quarter than there is when it's the game winner. This is his first game-winning field goaler in the National Football League, and it's a big one for him.
Earlier, he had a career high hitting from 42, also hit from 38 and from 30. And the rookie head coach, Bill Belichick.
Well, Bill's played this game exactly the way he wanted to play it, have a chance to win it at the end. Here's his opportunity. It all comes down to this new snapper.
Brian Kinchin had a problem earlier. A snap went astray. Now did Cincinnati call for the timeout, perhaps to let Stover think about it?
Well, isn't that known as icing the shooter, Marv?
Yes, very good, Bill. Amazing how you can relate to whatever the sport is involved.
Well, I thought you might be on more familiar grounds.
They also have just added another second to the clock instead of 8 seconds. Looked like Boomer Esiason indicating the timeout. 9 seconds remaining. The last time the Bengals started out 0-3 was back in 1985, and they won 7 and lost 9. They are seeking their first victory, and it comes down to this last second field goal by a first-year player out of Louisiana Tech. A one-time Giant picked up on Plan B. So both clubs are now out of timeout. Now, Bill, with 9 seconds, should this snap go astray, will there be time for another attempt, because it is 3rd down and 9?
No, I don't think there will. This is it right here.
All right, here it is from 45 yards away for the game. The kick is up, and it is good. Emotional moments for several members of the Cleveland Browns. It is called a 46-yard field goal officially, and the Browns have defeated the Bengals in the final seconds on the field goal by Matt Stover. Here's the rookie head coach, Bill Belichick, taking it very much in stride.
Well, I think he's seen a few of those last year, Marv. He's used to it.
Matt Stover with his 4th field goal of the afternoon. To give the Browns a 14-13 victory and a record of 2-1. Well, there are 4 seconds remaining. And Stover line drives it. Eric Ball on the return. And that will do it officially. The Browns over the Bengals. 14-13. Cleveland goes to 2-1. And the Bengals are now 0-3 for the first time since 1985. And they face the Redskins next week, while Cleveland against the Giants at the Meadowlands next week. Marv Albert with Bill Parcells, saying so long from Cleveland. Coming up, many of you will see the Bills and the Jets or the Colts and the Raiders.